Brutal Cathar. We're going to go ahead and take away their blocker. They lost their opportunity. And they don't have any meat on the board now to sacrifice for the recast of that Rite of Oblivion. They are down to 2. The only way that they're going to make this... Hello and welcome to the Florida Men Gaming. My name is Furion and today we're going to be playing Magic the Gathering Arena. But before we get started with this video, I would like to ask that you like this video, comment on it, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and would love your support on the journey. Also, if you're over on Rumble, go ahead and hit that Rumble button. This video is going to be showing off Alchemy Events, which is a variation of the standard event, the historic event, and the Alchemy Event. A great way to generate resources if you can attack it. I'm not going to go into the deck tech just yet, as I have that at the end of this video. We're going to go ahead right into the gameplay and the brief intro explanation on the first segment of this video. So go ahead and enjoy, and we will see you in the gameplay. Welcome back to another edition of Game Modes You Should Be Playing. The game mode we're going to explore in this video is called the Event. Now they come in 2 or 3 different versions. This one we're looking at is the Alchemy Event. It is a up to 3 losses event that the goal is to max out your wins at 7 wins. You pick a deck from your collection that falls into the Alchemy theme, and you play a series of games up until you either win 7 games or lose 3. It costs 500 gold to enter. Maximum payout is 1,000 gold and 3 cards, with at least 2 of those cards being rare and 1 uncommon. To break into even money, where you win at least your gold back, is to get to 4 wins. I've already played this event a little bit because I didn't want to put too much on video, but we're looking already at 1 win away from getting back at least the gold that we invested initially, plus 3 uncommon cards. The more you win past that, the more the rewards get more lucrative. 600 gold and 1 rare at 5 wins, 800 gold and 2 rares at 6 wins, and you double your money plus the 2 rares and 1 uncommon at 7. So for this one, we decided to utilize our Say Please deck, the mono-white exile-based counter strategy. I actually do wish I had the previous game recorded, as the previous game was against a Azorius control deck, and we absolutely ran the table. They did everything they could to stay in the game, but between well-timed Ordains, Thalias, and other cards, we were able to keep them off balance just enough to really pull ourselves out. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into some of this gameplay and see how the deck performs. This hand is actually excellent, except it might be a little slow. So I'm going to mulligan and see if I can pull down a 1-drop, which I managed to find here. And I'm going to drop the Brutal Cathar, as there is a wider targeting range for the Skyclave Apparition. Opponent giving us a hello, and we'll send him a hello back. No need to be rude. And the opponent showing black and an eye twitch. Unfortunately, the opponent is not showing snow mana, so the Redain is not going to be of much use in its standard form. We may end up utilizing it as the Valkyria shield, just to take away the annoying little 1 pings. But time will tell. There's another Inquisitor Captain, so let us go ahead and we'll just take away their ramp. And we'll see how it goes. We're hoping for that mana draw, but at the very least we can upgrade the Paladin class on the next turn and keep ourselves moving forward. Again, I'm not too keen right now on playing the Redain as is. I kind of want to keep the Redain in reserve as a shield. There's the mana. Let's go ahead and drop the Inquisitor Captain, see if we can draw out maybe an Elite Spellbinder and take a look at their hand. There's the Spellbinder. And a couple of Meathook Massacres and a Binding the Old Gods. So the opponent is actually playing black-green. Ooh. Neither of these is good for us. Let's go ahead and take the Binding out of their hands, push their ramp back even a little further, and chances are they'll wipe the board on the next turn, so we'll go ahead and just smack the eye twitch. Bright side is we do have another Inquisitor Captain on deck, so if they do decide to wipe the board this next turn, we'll be able to refill it pretty quickly here. Let's see what they elect to pick up from a spell perspective. I would almost expect a Necrotic Fumes. Nope, they're going for Environmental. They want to make sure that their mana comes out on turn. A 2-mana wipe gives them a 1/1 Spirit and gets our Spellbinder off the board. There's the Sciences, so they're electing to ramp. Do they have a little cheap creature to put in the way? This turn we are going to swing at their face in a big way. Oh, they're letting it through. So we're going to go ahead and pump the Paladin class and hit them big. Opponent now down to 11. They're going to have to use one of those meat hooks to stay in this. And that is just what we want. We want them to burn the meat hook down or target the Inquisitor Captain. It's going to have to be for at least 3, but again, the Inquisitor Captain will stay on the field, and with another one on deck, we'll be in really good shape here. There's the first meat hook. That's just what we wanted them to do. And a Spellbinder. That is gorgeous. We can now take the other meat hook out of their hand. Oh my goodness, they are just drawing into nonsense. Alright, let's go ahead and eat the chump block. They let it through. That actually surprises me. I think they want to use it as a Deadly Dispute target to fix their hand. It doesn't actually surprise me as much as I thought it might, but now that they've done that, we're going to go right over the top of them and win this game on this turn unless they have a way to knock out that Spellbinder. We're going to pump the Paladin class, which we need 1 more mana to do, so we're hoping for this mana. And when that happens, we're going to add the 1/1 counter and double strike to the Spellbinder, and this game will effectively be over. But we have to pull that mana for this to work. Do they try and pull another draw with the Skullport? That will be the question. They don't have enough for another meat hook. There's the mana. Let's go ahead and give it the pump. Give them the GG. And unless they have an Infernal Grasp to knock out our flyer, this is... I may have preemptively GG'd, and I know that can be a mistake. But we're going to go right past their blocker. And it's double strike, so they have to kill this. And I just don't know if they drew what they needed there. Well, they're touching their hand, so they could have it. Or they could be trying to do the math. There's the Deadly Dispute. Opponent taking another ping. 1, 2. GG. Ladies and gentlemen, Mono Black falls, and we are now in even money. We're going to go ahead and make this just a stream of consciousness recording. Run this until the video is done. Just makes a lot of sense to do it this way, and we can always do a deck breakdown separately. This deck has been featured already in a video, so it's not something you haven't already seen. We're up to 4 wins, so that gives us our 500 gold back. We have now effectively lost nothing to do this, plus 3 cards, which would be the 3 in common at least. Now we're hoping to get into some of the rares and start adding some money to our bank. Mono Black can be a dicey opponent. Fortunately, we had enough mana to get our big bodies down early enough that we kept them on the back foot for the game. That Paladin class coming in when it did was clutch. It forced them to go for deeper dives into their mana pool to make the cards they had worth it. And this is a glorious hand. We're going to go ahead and keep Stonebinders on 1. See if we can't take any of their 1-drops off the board with that Circle of Confinement and start building it up. There's a Shambling Gas, so we're going to already take away their ramp. We'll go ahead and play the Cave of the Frost Dragon, which is glorious. That land comes in tapped any other time, and now we have the curve fully built out. Elite Spellbinder will be next, which will continue to build the pup, and then Inquisitor Captain on 4 could give us another Spellbinder and continue to build us out, which is exactly what we're hoping for. Opponent calling Azorius. it'll be really good this next turn to get into their hand and take a look at what's going on, because we don't want to get blindsided by something crazy here. Sanguine Brushstroke and Rite of Oblivion. Let's go ahead and make this a little more expensive than they want it to be. And I know it's not typically ideal to give them a draw. I'm surprised they didn't block that. I would have taken the block and used that to grab a draw out of the Cursebound Witch. And you might be thinking, why didn't you take the Sanguine Brushstroke? Frankly, I'm not too worried about it at this point. I know that card can spiral, but when you get lucky draws like the Portable Hole, you just take what you can. Now the pups are getting big, Spellbinder's going to swing in, they're going to have to block now, and they don't. They have something up their sleeve, and it makes me... it doesn't make me too nervous, as they don't have a big enough mana sweep to knock out my Stonebinders, and I still have an Inquisitor Captain, but you don't want to sleep on what they can do. They do have enough now to run that Rite of Oblivion, but there's still 5 damage that they have to account for, and that's a lot to deal with. Okay, Brutal Cathar, we're going to go ahead and take away their blocker. They lost their opportunity. And they don't have any meat on the board now to sacrifice for the recast of that Rite of Oblivion. They are down to 2. The only way that they're going to make this happen is with a meat hook. To sweep the board, give them back some health, and put another blocker up. And I say that, but they could have any number of options. Could actually just be a Doomscar, another Brushstroke. We're just going to go right over the top and pop them. Do they have a removal for our flyer? Honestly, even with removal, we can still go around them because our lowest power creature here does 2 damage. I have found that while the Brutal Cathar is amazing for being able to attack tokens, I much prefer the Skyclave Apparition for its ability to target the spells, enchantments, and planeswalkers that sit on the board. So typically, my philosophy with this particular deck is if you see me running and I have multiple Cathars or a Cathar and a Skyclave Apparition that I have to choose from in a mulliganed hand, I will bin the Cathar and elect to keep the Apparition. Even though it has a lower health pool and can give them back a spirit, they don't get their card back, so there's less targeting incentive to just take it out immediately. With the Cathar does give them back their card, and even though it can flip to the night side and become a 3/3 first striker with a ward, a lot of times it's immediately targeted on the first chance, and there goes the opponent. They don't want any more of it, so we are excited. We are going to stop this particular recording here for now, and then we'll just add a little segment so that I can take a quick break here. It's been a minute since I got up out of this chair, so with that, we'll be right back. Alright, we are caffeinated and we are back. Let's go ahead and kick this into overdrive. Whoops. Just waiting for the system to match us up to our next opponent. We are in even money, if I'm not mistaken, on the last game. So we are excited to potentially now capitalize. Alright, this is a great hand. We're going to go ahead and keep this. The Savior of Allenbach is a card that will be difficult to play in its intended form. The way that we try and play it is actually a little bit different than I think was initially fleshed out. People thought this would be a potential replacement for the Brutal Cathar or the Skyclave Apparition. What I found to be the most effective is to utilize it attacking our own graveyard. So we'll end up, essentially, if a creature gets killed and it trains, we'll pull the creature from the graveyard and bury it under our Savior. And then when the opponent has the opportunity to attack, and if they kill the Savior, the creatures that are underneath it will then return to the battlefield. So rather than exiling opponents' creatures and then having to face them down later, we'll just essentially return the creatures that we want back to the board. Now, the opponent has shown that they are an Esper Keys deck. I don't know what else they could be sitting on. That could be a Doomscar in the Foretell Zone. We're going to go ahead and Borrowed Time that key to the archive away. We're also going to play a Paladin class, make it a little more difficult for them to cast spells on our turn. This will pump the Stonebinder's Familiar and allow us to put down that Savior of Allenbach on the next turn to continue to draw out of our graveyard. Now, at this point, with nothing in the graveyard, we may Inquisitor Captain, see if we can't draw out a Elite Spellbinder, but we shall see. They bend Time Warp. That could indicate a Lier. With the opponent not tapping down, we're going to go ahead and just pump the Paladin class and see if we can't draw out some removal. No need to play into counter magic. We have the advantage at the moment. There's the Memory Deluge, having to pay a full 5 mana for it because, again, of that Paladin class on the board. We're going to make them have it when it comes to removal. Let's see if they elect to sweep the board here. That could also be a Sod coming. Vanishing Verse on the Borrowed Time, so they're going to get another pull with the key. That's not good for us. That is one of the downsides of a monocolored deck. It is susceptible to Vanishing Verse. Do they sweep the board? Krosan Grip. Oh, that is beautiful. They are... Well, they're not fully tapped down, let's be frank. They've got the key to come back, so now they've got 3 mana available. It is a little bit of a nerve-wracking situation. They tapped it. Okay, perfect. We will go ahead and take the card draw. If we draw the Skyclave Apparition, that'll be good for us. Let's go ahead and Inquisitor Captain. Only 1 mana available for the opponent, so not really anything they can effectively do here. And we will Spellbinder to the board, see if we can't take a look at what they've got. We'll go ahead and move that Divine Purge a little further away, make it a truly cost-inefficient spell, and since they're tapped down, we know we're going to get hit with that Purge, but let's bend the Time Warp. If they are playing a Lier deck and we're hoping to get that back with Recursion, we're going to make it so that it is not a cost-effective play for them. We have another Captain on deck and the Savior of Allenbach, so we can start our initial strategy here of playing with... There's another Deluge, so the opponent is desperately digging. This is good for us as it allows us to continue to draw out with the Inquisitor Captain. The Savior of Allenbach, if it survives a turn, can start to really go after our graveyard, and there we go. So let's go ahead and Inquisitor Captain will be able to put the Allenbach down as well. The opponent has so much mana though, so let's go ahead, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. That would make it a 7 mana spell, not quite worth it. We'll go ahead and put the Apparition down and take Teferi, who slows the sunset, as he is a little bit more of a scary threat at this point, and we will hold on to the cards in hand, wait for them to hit that Divine Purge, and then we'll drop the Brutal Cathar and the Savior on the next turn. I do suspect that it will be the Divine Purge coming down next. They are manually tapping another Memory Deluge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They still have the mana available, so they could have done that just to make sure they could go for it. I don't know what their intent here is. There's another mana on the board, and a full-powered Doomscar. Okay. Let's go ahead and take away their little beastie. And we'll Thalia. Just make everything a little more expensive, draw out more of their removal, make them pay big for it. There's the Divine Purge we were waiting for. Let's see what they've got on deck. They've got to have something here. Witness the Future. They are restacking their deck. It's a good thing we took that Time Warp away from them. Now the opponent is effectively tapped out, and they drew a card. Another Cave of the Frost Dragon. Let's go ahead and play the Allenbach. See what kind of mana we're sitting on. We have enough to replay the Thalia, so we'll go ahead and put the Thalia back down. Hopefully they're not sitting on another board wipe, and hopefully they don't see what we're trying to do here. Jawari Disruption, that was a smart play. So now we're going to have to wait at least one more turn before we can start pumping the Savior. Actually no, one more turn. We can attack in with the Cave of the Frost Dragon, and that is exactly what we want to do here. Do they minus the Teferi? They plus it. So they might be sitting on something other than the Memory Deluge. Oh, that is pretty. We're not going to do that though. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't get this plus on the Savior. What are they sitting on here? They're going to go ahead and pop the Deluge. They'll still have 3 available mana. We're going to go ahead and go straight for the Teferi. Vanishing Verse, so that's unfortunate for us. Let's just go ahead and put a little poke on the Teferi, and we lost the mana, so that is even more unfortunate. Opponent digging. Again, I can't explain how excited I am to have binned the Time Warp, but there's another Foretell. Alright, let's see if we can't make this happen. Alright, we now have the Spellbinder. Teferi is now gone. If they kill this Savior, Spellbinder hits the board. Let's see if they understand what just happened. Go ahead and wipe it. We've got a fun card ready to go. Let's go ahead and play the Thalia, see if we can't draw down a potential counterspell, but they held off on that. There's a Wash Away. Go ahead and kill the board. It's not that I dare them to, but kind of do. They have more mana than this Thalia is going to interrupt, so that doesn't really do what we were hoping it would do. And Spellbinder to the board. If they tap down or utilize this last card, we'll be able to get an Inquisitor Captain unopposed to the board, and that'll be big for us. If they don't, we'll hold on to the Inquisitor Captain and swing in for 6 with the Cave of the Frost Dragon. Because they could be sitting once again on our nasty little friend, Doomscar. At this point, we are somewhat in the driver's seat. There's another key to the archive. That is not good for us. But they have nothing to discard, so whatever they drew is going to go to the bin. I think they might have forgot that. And it's the approach. Now we might actually have to play that Inquisitor Captain and see if we can't draw out... Well, no, again, with the Foretell, they have to cast it twice. We can put them down to dangerous territory here. Opponent now down to 3. They are 1 swing away, so unless they can bring the approach into their hand, there's the Doomscar. Do they have targeted removal for a cave? They might. We're going to take the chance anyway. There's the Fateful Absence. So, as always, the opponent never didn't have it. but they're still in precarious positioning here. And there's the Sun Gold. That's exactly what we wanted for this next turn. So do they pass priority? They do. We can double Sun Gold, so if one of them sticks, there goes Approach. Goodbye Approach. Let's go ahead and play out an Inquisitor Captain. And we'll play out Redain. Now, they could have drawn any number of board wipes. They have proven time and again that they have plenty of them. There's another key to the archive. Did they draw something that will keep them in this game? Because they do have now a discard option. They're gone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a nail-biter of a game. I cannot believe this is the second time now we've taken on a keys deck, a keys control deck, and prevailed. This one definitely seemed a little more tenuous, and whew, I know the first one that I played for this particular setup wasn't on camera, but am I glad that we caught that one. So that was our second game in the money. One more win, and we max out 1,000 gold and 3 cards. We're going to go ahead and go for it here. This is really exciting, as it is harder than you might think, especially when you're playing decks that are so entrenched in the meta like Control Keys, to really pull out wins in a satisfying manner. So far we have managed it. I don't remember what the loss was during the initial testing phase when I was playing this before putting it on camera. I do remember it was a situation though where we never quite got the mana we needed to curve out, and that really bit us in the butt. And I even think I kind of screwed myself over a little bit playing a Thalia and then basically locking myself out of my cards such as Borrowed Time. This is a perfect keep. We're going to be able to put the Stonebinder's Familiar down on 1. We are on the play. Opponent showing Vampire Sleeves and a Vampire Avatar, so we could be playing mono black or some kind of vampire theme, but with the Stonebinders and the Borrowed Time and the Cathar and the Apparition, we have all sorts of exciting options with which to pluck their creatures off the board. Alright, opponent is showing red. This could be burn. And we are now going to hit the top of our curve. We only need 4 mana to hit every card that we play. Even some of our 3 mana cards become 4 when we deal with the Thalia on the field. But we don't need much more than that at any given time, which is really exciting now to have that going for us. And with the Elite Spellbinder, we'll get a look at what they're doing. This might not stick to the board as they have shown 1 mana removal already, but we can at least disrupt some of their bigger plays. There's the Spikefield Hazard, but we're still going to take something away from them. So what do you got in your hand? That is a pain. Let's go ahead and we'll push the Townraiser Tyrant a little further away, and then if they drop something like a Stormseeker, we'll just take it away on the next turn. They're electing to take the 3, so there comes the Stormseeker. They are mono red burn. A couple cards that would be key to us really putting this game into a slightly less manageable position for the opponent would be Thalia, Paladin class, those type of cards, and I'm really trying to avoid putting down my creature removal right now as they have enough burn to make it a problem. They're going right for the face right now. Environmental Sciences, Inquisitor Captain is glorious, as that is a thick, thick spell that's going to be a lot harder for them to deal with. And there's our little girl Thalia. She is going to now push a lot of their key spells further away. So now that Environmental Sciences is going to cost them 3. And we still have 2 exile cards on the board. If they elect to try and drop down and swing in with the adversary, the Inquisitor Captain is big enough and the Thalia has first strike, so they're not going to have an easy play here. There's a tap out for the Environmental. Keeping in mind again that now they have nothing they can cast with just 1 mana available. So we're going to go ahead and start swinging at face. And we will hold. That is a good switch to us, because now the Brutal Cathar can come down. Although if they have another Stormseeker, that is going to be a painful swing. There's the adversary. Here comes the pump. So I'm expecting a Spikefield Hazard to come back out of the graveyard, and nope, an Igneous Inspiration. free targeting on the Thalia. Makes sense. Are they gonna go for the captain? Or are they not able to cast it because of the bonus penalty? Oh, maybe the penalty still affects it. I didn't think that was going to be the case, but we'll take it. We'll go ahead and remove the adversary. And we'll swing home. We'll wait till next turn to cast the Cathar, that way we have the penalty available. Opponent is playing a Maniform Hellkite, but no spells with which to build it off of. Now they're going to have to make a choice. Do they double spell here and turn the Moonrage Brute into our friendly neighborhood Brutal Cathar? They've got a heap of mana. Or are they going to play another dragon? Another dragon would not be ideal. They're thinking about it. We don't have anything for that to benefit off of right now, which has been a blessing in terms of what's been allowed to come down for us. They're choosing to play the Igneous Inspiration and get back the Bloodthirsty Adversary. And they've picked up a Mascot Exhibition, so now they are sitting on a heap. Do they try for a 2-mana spell? There's a big swing. 4 damage to face. That does hurt. And we are now in a very precarious position as we are flooding out. We're going to go ahead and hold 4, 5, 6. We have 6 mana. It's going to be 8 for that exhibition. And if they get that exhibition off, this game is over. We have nothing that can block their aerial targets as of right now. Alright, so there's a 2-mana play with fire. Do they cast another spell? They don't. I was really hoping for that double cast. That is glorious. Apparition coming down, taking away the Hellkite. That has been a thorn in our side, and now we're going to swing in and get at least 3 damage to their face. Opponent likely to play... Well, they don't have the mana yet for the exhibition. They'll have to pick it up on this next turn. But now they are within range of lethal, so they're going to have to put something on the board, most likely the Townraiser Tyrant, which is going to be a big 4 damage blocker that will stop most of what we have available. Question is, can we luck into another exile spell big enough to stop it? That is a big, big cast. Oh, this is exactly what we want here. This is gonna put things in a whole new perspective. And do I have enough? I do have enough. Opponent gonna get the good game. Ladies and gentlemen, we just hit max money here. And that is it. The game is out of reach. We hit the luck. I mean, we could say never didn't have it, but there was a few moments there where it was precarious, and we are excited to take these victories. So with that, let's take a look at our reward structure here. This is just standard game win rewards, so we're going to grab Diver Scob, and now we have 1,000 gold and 3 cards. Let's go ahead and claim our prize here. Getting a Valdaran Estate, a Scoot Swarm, and what is our uncommon? The Honeymoon Hearse. Scoot Swarm is a fun one, especially with all the landfall stuff that has been reinvigorated as a result of Omnath coming out of the bans and into the Alchemy format. Valdaran Estate, I'm pretty sure I already had a 4 of with that, but I'm not going to complain. Rares are rares, and it keeps us from having to draw those later on in any future packs we get rewarded for that particular set. And we're going to go ahead and hit Claim Prize and just enjoy the sweet, sweet victory. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the deck that took us there. Again, this is a really, really useful way to garner and generate resources that you can use for either drafting or for other variations of card acquisition, whether you're buying packs for 1,000, playing the jump-in format, which we featured in a previous video. So what we're looking at right here, this is our Say Please deck. It is a mono-white exile-based permissions deck that has enough of an aggro edge to really give us a fun push. What we built in with this deck, if you don't remember, 2 Paladin class, 2 Portable Hull, 4 Stonebinders Familiars, 2 Circles of Confinement, 3 Sun Gold Sentinels, 3 Thalia Guardian of Thrabans, 3 Borrowed Times, 4 Brutal Cathars, 4 Elite Spellbinders, 2 Redain God of the Worthies, 1 Savior of Allenbach, 4 Skyclave Apparition, and 4 Inquisitor Captain. Lands were running 22, 4 creature lands, 2 of them Faceless Haven. When I initially built this deck, I was running a full 24 lands, and 4 of them were Faceless Haven, and that was proving to be problematic as I would draw most of my Faceless Havens and not enough white to hit those double white cost spells. Again, when you're playing this deck, the Savior of Allenbach is a really useful tool if you can get it down to the board and start it training. And again, the key piece here is not to utilize it to attack the opponent's field. It is to start resetting your own graveyard, because if they remove it, your whole graveyard potentially, depending on how many times you're able to trigger the training, can come right back to the field. And that is a devastating moment for the opponent to have to deal with if they kill the board and suddenly your board is somewhat reset. If you have 2 or 3 creatures underneath it, especially good interruption creatures like an Elite Spellbinder, like a Sun Gold Sentinel, like a Skyclave Apparition, they really have to think hard about, is that creature worth killing or just chumping? So it's a worthwhile card. It's a one of in the deck. There's other pieces we are really valuing more right now, like that Sun Gold Sentinel, like that Stonebinder's Familiar. But in future iterations of this deck, I might reconsider it. Fun deck to play. That game mode, like I said, if you're able to survive the meta, whatever meta you happen to be playing is, this event is available in Standard Event, Alchemy Event, and I believe a Historic format as well. As you saw, we played at least 2 games against Keys decks. I think we only had 1 on camera. Mono Black, Red Burn, all sorts of iterations of decks you're going to run into there. You have to find something you feel can attack every corner of the meta, and for me, this was the deck I built to do that. Skyclave Apparitions, Borrowed Times, designed to attack the Keys directly, and it worked out very well for us. A couple of nail-biting moments, but we are excited to take those wins. We are really happy that happened. We're going to continue to attack the ladder. I'm playing these in between ladder matches and putting these up as the decks I'm using to attack the ladder are the Out of the Darkness Golgari Wolves deck, but since you've already seen that in a video, rather than just show you more repetitive gameplay of the same deck mechanics working over and over again, I'm trying to put up something interesting for you to watch while I make my way to Mythic, and when I find a deck I try to play that you may not have seen, that will make it up as the Road to Mythic or Mythic or Bust deck. So, hope you enjoyed this video. We are looking forward to seeing you in the next one, and have a wonderful day. With that, this is Furion from the Florida Men Gaming, signing off.